What's good with it? It's your boy Simon Phoenix. This is Shots Fired Sunday Night Rant. What's good with it? What's good with it? What's good with it? It's your boy. Feeling kind of good. It's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Like, it's ridiculous how good the weather has been in the Midwest in the middle of November. Well, early November. Anyway, as I was going through my normal scrolling through Facebook, checking out things, my Facebook alerted me, showed me one of those pictures that is a memory. And the picture for me was fantastic because it was a picture of me and my dad. And it got me to thinking about what my father showed me. And over a lifetime of living now, all of those lessons, those jewels, those free classes I was getting, I'm thankful for now. What my father was able to instill, teach me, put me on to, help me be a better man. It helped me to understand what masculinity was all about, even if he didn't say a lot. My father was one of those men who was more action than speaking, but he would drop jewels. And a lot of the times, the jewels that he dropped to me didn't make a lot of sense. I speak about all the time that my dad's from Tupelo, Mississippi. Now, a lot of people don't know nothing about Tupelo, Mississippi, except for that it is the birthplace of Elvis Presley. But for me, Tupelo, Mississippi was where I went for my summers during my grade school years. So I have a lot of fond memories of going to where my dad was from, where they got the red clay. Anybody who rocked Forces, you would hate it. It never comes out, it seems like, of anything. And it is rural America at its finest. It's been improved over the years, definitely. But when I was going, it was definitely your hallmark picture of rural Southern America. My father would tell me these stories of how he would get a potato in the morning for lunch and he would be ashamed that he was a kid bringing a potato to school as a meal. But he would go get that potato that he hid and he would eat it after school because he was so hungry. That my dad would tell me stories, being one of 8, of, the big chicken. Like, I knew the big piece of chicken joke before I seen a comedian say it. My father had explained it to me. When he was a kid, his father got the big piece of chicken. And the kids would get the legs and wings. Because I would ask him, I don't like breast meat like that. I'm not saying I wouldn't eat it, but it's not my favorite part of the chicken. I would ask, why he, was always getting his breast. And he'd be like, because I'm the man, I get the big piece of chicken. I would laugh at that. Because I'd be like, yeah, you can have that, bro. That's what you get when you the man. I don't even want that. Let me get them thighs. That's what I'm on. I like them thighs. And so my dad would just be rather funny with things that he would tell me, but it didn't make a lot of sense. But what he was showing me was monumental. It was really the hallmark of a man walking into manhood. My father was the first person to explain to me that you have to get up when you fall. That falling is natural, but it is the hallmark of a good individual to stand up, to brush yourself off and keep going. No matter what your circumstances may be, the fight must go on. So when you fall, get up. And, when you're young, your toddler status, that's the first thing somebody teaches you. You fall, and after, first couple falls, people trying to catch you. But after a while, when you fall and you make a face, grown-ups is like, no, leave them alone. They got to learn to get up. Because you're trying to instill being self-sufficient. Because that's highly important in not just today's society, but society as a whole. We would like people that are self-sufficient. That means that they're not getting assistance from us. Right? So you're looking for that. And that standing up, that getting up on your feet lesson is the first step to manhood. And I didn't realize it then as I do now. My father was one of those guys who he worked a myriad of jobs through my life. My father was the first person I seen be handy. And so I would watch him fix doors. I would watch him build the the back patio. We had a front porch as well, and I watched him enclose the front porch. In both of these projects, I watched my father go and bring a work friend home. He show up with somebody I've seen a few times. They would be having man talk. This normally would be followed by jokes and beers. And they would get out there and my dad would be moving around and the person would be, yo, we got to do this and do that. And I watched him with these projects and he would just be getting it and be dirty, Watched him call somebody over to try to fix a radiator or whatever have you, and he'd be filthy. And then his real job, he'd be filthy. And he would always be like, there's a place for a dirty job. Don't ever think that there's no pride in that job. And so my dad had always put me on that, the world moves by the jobs that we think are dirty jobs, whether it's the oil or whether it's the trash man, the sewer person, plumbers. All of these people have dirty jobs. It's a whole TV series on dirty jobs. So my dad let me know off jump, hey, there's nothing wrong with you getting dirty. That you shouldn't have so much pride in you that you won't get dirty to take care of yourself. And that lesson was really learned by me, shockingly, because I've had plenty dirty jobs. Whether it was my parents instilling that, you got to stick your hand in the toilet and scrub the toilet. That's how you clean the toilet on the inside. Where I don't give a hell. I don't give a shit what's in the toilet. I will scrub it. Gloves, no gloves. I don't give a damn. I'll wash my hands afterward thoroughly. Get some antibacterial, the whole nine. But I'm going to make sure the job gets done. Doesn't bother me. That's not my ideal job by any means. Anybody who likes to talk shit like I do, who is a personal human being, I like humans as flawed as we are. That's not the job I want to do. But will I get down in dirt? Oh, for sure. And my dad was the person that put that in me to make me think that, okay, it's all right. Oh, you think that's messed up? Let me show you something, son. And when he said, let me show you something, son, my dad was helping fix some plumbing, got filthy. I was like, oh, that's nasty. It stink. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's gross, right? Probably about 11. So my dad was like, oh, you think that's bad? All right, wait until next week. I'm like, I ain't thinking that my dad has a get-together every year for the 4th of July. It's his birthday, the 6th of July. So It's a perfect time to have his family and friends over, and he has a barbecue and a huge party. All his family and friends come over, but they kick it. And it's right around that time. I wake up in the morning the following weekend to find, or I shouldn't say weekend, it was probably like a Thursday or something like that. I wake up to find a goat in the back of my dad's truck. Mind you, I'm like 11 or 12. I live in the city. You know, when I say I live in the city, I mean I live in the city. So I'm like, there's a goat in the truck. Never seen one of these in the city. What are you doing with the goat, Dad? Oh, I'm about to kill the goat. You go, what? Yeah, come here. My dad proceeds to take the goat out, get some rope, and hang this bad boy. And when I say hang this bad boy, I mean hanging by his feet. I know there's no such thing. Don't correct me. Hangs him by his feet. Pulls out the butcher knife and slit this boy throat. I'm sitting there in shock as blood just pours out. My dad pull out a little bucket in. He like, all right, we're going to come back in an hour. We're going to get the blood and I'm going to show you. You going to show me what? Yeah, we going to cut this goat up. At the time, I didn't know that was processing meat. Shout out to my redneck homeboy Hunter for putting me on to why people call it that. So you don't be out here being like, yeah, so I was cutting up the animal. The proper term is processing. So my dad processed this goat. Chopped up all these limbs and whatnot. And I'm talking about bloody. I'm talking about nasty. I'm talking about, you've never seen that process done. This is not for the faint of heart. I'm 12. I said, okay. Right then and there, I knew how gangster my dad was. Cutting up things, you know how to go and get the limb and pop it off and all that. Oh, yeah, bro, you gangster. You gangster for real. But the moral to that story is that he had no problem doing it. The dirty part had no effect on him whatsoever. He would always tell me mud and blood wash off. It's true. And as a man, I learned that, I don't have a problem with getting it dirty if I got to. If that calls for it, then that's where I am. I'm going to do those things. All right, let me take a quick little commercial break. And, we will be right back.
Brought to you by Mind Vendor Incorporated in association with Ashy Radio.
Hey, are you tired of having that upset stomach, that bubbly guts feeling? Then I need you to get with Tyrone's Gas X. That's right, Tyrone's Gas X is known to stop upset stomach, farting, wet farting, hard farting, bubble guts, squishy guts, and the runs.
Please use as directed. Side effects may be hair loss, weakness of jawline, weakness of pull-out game, lip dick, and pimples.
Tyrone's Gas X. Stop you from having that shitty feeling.
Yeah, you know what it is. Shots Fired podcast popping.
Johnny Ray Ray's security team. That's right. The legendary Johnny Ray Ray security team has a service or a plan for you, for your home, for your business, for your auto or boats. That's right. You can get a one-on-one personal security officer to take care of everything you need to protect you from any and all threats. If you need more, we can bring and provide a team of well-trained superstars made by Johnny Ray Ray himself. And don't forget our special deal. Right now, you can get our baby mama protection plan. This includes protection from your home, protection for your business, and protection for your personal well-being. Johnny Ray Ray security team. Better be protected.
Welcome back to Shots Fired with Simon Phoenix.
So, as we continue and proceed to rock the mic, I know some of y'all not going to catch that reference. Get with me later. Tribe Called Quest. Anyway, one of the greatest things that I received from my dad had to be the idea that you shouldn't be shamed to ask questions. My dad will always tell me there is no such thing as a stupid question. There may be things that are completely obvious, but sometimes clarity is needed. And me watching that in action more than he said it was proof. What I mean by that is, let's go back to the projects that I spoke about earlier. That my dad always had someone who knew more than him by his side. Even if he did the majority of the work, he had them there as a reference point. So he could make the task easier. That's highly important, because a lot of times we make the task hard by not going and asking for help. And the real reason we're not going to ask for help is because of pride. And my father showed me that to be prideful in those situations is dumb. That's silliness. There is nothing wrong with you going to your friend, going to your teacher, going to the expert and saying, hey, I don't know this. Please explain it to me. For a lot of us, that is how you got some of the best information, was because other people gave it to you upon request. So for me, watching my dad do everything that handymen do, but not having the full grasp of information, but being wise enough to step out and say, can I get some help? Show me that I could do that too, that there was no shame in it. So my whole life, I have been relatively nosy. Oh, hey, you put that in there. Okay, how'd that work? Oh, and then you do that. Oh, and you screwed it. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, hey, bro, I'm having a problem over here setting my stuff up. I know you know something about audio sound. How do I do X, Y, and Z? For me, asking for help means nothing, does not bother me whatsoever, because I'm trying to get to my goal as fast as possible. And I don't want to ruin it with my pride, because like I said before, that's stupid. So as I gain all of this knowledge from this man, as he speaks rarely, I'm watching all of these things in action. I'm watching how you go about it. And my mind takes me to the first real thoughts, the first real hard memories in my mind, all the way till the end of his passing. What I seen was an individual that consistently learned. And this is a guy who didn't graduate from high school. But in my father's lifetime, he was a capable carpenter. He was a capable roofer. He was a capable auto mechanic. He was a living GPS. Like, I've never in my lifetime jumped in a car with somebody and they had been a place one time and could get you back there. But my dad could. I had been on many trips with my family, and my dad would just jump in the car, pull out a map for a second and be like, oh, I heard it was construction there. And we show up at the spot. with no problems whatsoever. Could drive for 20 hours straight, it seemed like, off Coca-Cola. A goon with it. You understand what I'm saying? A goon with it. I was just in shock as a kid how much my dad could do and his ability to do those things. I never took him for granted, and it took me a moment in life to step back and be like, when I needed him to ask him questions and he had passed away, I realized how much of a wealth of information I had lost. That I had lost my own personal internet, basically, because he knew all the family lineage. He knew everything there was to fixing and maintaining something. That kind of information is priceless to have from somebody. And for me now that I don't have him in my life, or should I say I don't have him physically in my life, because, you know, as long as you have the memory of someone, they stay alive because you're alive. You're keeping their thought alive. And so as long as I'm breathing, I'm always going to champion my dad for being a great dad. Just being there for me to observe. My dad used to always talk about a smart man picks his fights. And I always thought that was funny because I took it super literal. Like, how you pick a fight? They just run up on you and punch you in the face. That's a wrap, right? But what he was trying to tell me is that in that situation, you can walk away. That unless it gets to the degree where it has to go down, then and only then are you forced in the situation. Anything above that, you have the right to move away. You have the right to leave it alone. And I used that ability wisely in life. It was a lot of times where I was pressed to the wall and I felt like I was going to be combative. But what I learned was, no, I'm not. And so that in itself helped me out a great deal. And probably the last thing I'm going to talk about today, but the most important to me, was we all have demons. How are you going to defeat yours? That for me, my father's biggest demon was that he was an alcoholic. He wasn't the type of alcoholic, to be abusive, verbally or physically. He was just a happy or sad drunk when he was drinking. That I would come home some days and he would be drunk and crying over his father, which as a young man, I totally understood. And I would sit with my dad and I could understand his loss, even as a young child, because I didn't want to lose him. And throughout my life, my father battled with his alcoholism. And he finally defeated it. And what he explained to me was that we all have a fight. We all have a personal demon. He was like, and it could be anything. Vices come in every shape, form, and fashion. And so your vice may be that you eat too much. Your vice may be that you can't stop smoking. Your vice may be that you can't leave hard drugs alone. But that fight is your own fight. And when you defeat that thing, it will always be a part of you. But when you get control of it, when you get a grasp on it, then you have won your fight in life. Because that demon or demons is your ultimate challenge, because it's always there. And when you have that controlled, you have won at life. because it gives you the ability to live life to its fullest. And I think that is the hallmark of all of these, is each one of these play a factor in you living your life to the fullest. So for me, I just wanted to say thank you, Dad, for all of the wisdom that you showed me and for everything that you told me. All right, that's enough of the Sunday night rant. Just had that on my heart, so I decided to drop that. Anyway, I have been your boy, Simon Phoenix. This has been Shots Fired Sunday Night Rant. Oh, yeah. Because of the computer problems of my computer going in and out and stopping, a lot of shows are being uploaded late, and I apologize. I'm sorry. It's not my intent. So I'm just having a lot of computer issues until I can get enough money to grab a new one. It's going to be a tight fight. So I apologize about the inconveniences that I may have caused you and the inconsistency with the show. Anyway, I have been your boy, Simon Phoenix. This has been Shots Fired Sunday Night Rant. I holla.